Hi guys, welcome. For those of you who are not familiar with me and my practice, my name is Megan Warren and I'm a certified coach specializing in emotional resilience. If you don't know what emotional resilience is, essentially it's learning how to be your authentic self, how to show up in any situation and honor your needs, even when the person or the situation is challenging, and how to create solutions that work both for you and for the other person. In addition to being an emotional resilience coach, I'm also an expat single mom, and my background is in business development and public health. Now, just a quick note, if this video or any of the other ones that I've made resonates with you, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be putting out weekly content that's designed to help you navigate some of the difficult challenges that you encounter in life. So today we're going to be looking at how we can change the defeating dialogue in your head. The I shouldn't, I can't, to I absolutely can and I will. Now, as with the other topics that I've covered, a lot of the work begins with looking at what is to better understand how you can shift into what you want. So with that in mind, who out there has a mental dialogue that includes a whole lot of I shouldn't, I can't? Yep, my hand's raised too. How many times have you've had a thought to start something new? You're going to apply for that job, or you're going to make some sort of major change in your life, only to have that voice come out and begin squeaking in disbelief, and that absolutely stops you in your tracks. And it squeaks with disbelief that, well, you deserve it. There's skepticism that you can actually do it, right? You doubt that other people will still like you if you do it. You wonder if, well, you're not that special. You don't stand out. Can you make it happen? And then there's a belief that you definitely can't do it. And so any initial excitement or momentum comes screeching to a halt because you credit that voice. You begin to think it's right. And so you shake your head and you think, who are you to think that you can do it? And so you continue to obediently play small, you keep your head down, and you don't risk anything. But I would ask, does that pattern fulfill you? Do you want to stay safe in should? Or do you want to challenge that voice and move towards will? So to help you think critically, let's look at where the dialogue comes from and what it does for you. Now, evolutionarily, from your body system to your social system, you're designed to create patterns that ensure your wellness and help you expend the least amount of energy, because that helps secure your existence, right? So that's how we're built. And this makes sense when your survival's threatened. The muscle memory or the body's fight or flight response, these are inborn mechanisms and they are strengthened over your lifetime. Socially, you learned the rules of the group. You learned how to fit in. You know that by heart. And you do these kinds of things to protect yourself, to protect your existence, so that you get the things you need to thrive, things like belonging. And that works, but then when your survival is not threatened, what actually happens is that these patterns, they block you. They block you from taking a risk. They block you from trying a new path or, trying to do something for which you don't have a model. And when you continue to build and reinforce these patterns in the absence of any danger, they become walls and it traps you into one way of thinking, one way of being. So are you content with the narrow patterns that you might be creating? Do you wake up each morning fulfilled and excited to start the new day? If the answer to that question is no, then likely you need to examine the mental boundaries that create and protect your way of being. So you can see how to expand your view of yourself. That lets you start to say, I will to new possibilities, rather than hearing that voice and, saying, I guess I shouldn't. Now, it's absolutely natural that you identify and you create these patterns and you learn to use them. But where do they come from? Well, your patterning begins when you're born, right? You absorb the beliefs, the habits, and the attitudes of those closest to you. Your culture, your language, your experiences, they refine and then really solidify those initial patterns that you took on. So over the course of your life, you actually build a whole framework. And what that does is it helps you automatize much of your life, right? It helps you conserve energy. And this framework also really helps you make meaning out of the world and the experiences that you come across. Now this frame, the one that you build, it protects and it supports you, but over time it can really become rigid and you get locked into automated thinking and you're unable to see yourself in different or new ways. You begin to believe that you are the way you are and the situation is what it is. And you shrug off anyone who suggests differently, well, because you know yourself, right? Now, as a coach, most of the work that I do with clients is really simply critical thinking. It's turning over challenges and limiting beliefs to see if we can help you break your frame to expand your worldview that lets you see yourself in a new way of being that lets you achieve and reach for your objectives. So if you want to turn the I should into I can and I choose to, then pause the video for just a minute. Pick a situation where you feel stuck. Once you have that in your mind, restart the video and begin reflecting on some of the prompts that I'm going to walk you through now. So when you experience or you think about this situation, what are the thoughts that run through your mind? Maybe they're even unconscious. Sit with that for a minute and just think about it. Think about the characteristics or the qualities of those thoughts. Are they positive? Or maybe they're negative? Are they related only to this one event? Or do they cross events or whole periods of time? And what are the results of these thoughts? Do they push you out of your comfort zone? Or do they keep you safe? Then I would say, ask yourself how accurate these thoughts are. What proof do you have for the thought? And what is the factual evidence that you can point to? What other explanations, no matter how implausible they might be, what other explanations could there be? And then take a step back and say, what if these weren't your thoughts? What would you tell a friend or a family member who was thinking this way? And if you keep thinking this way, will these thoughts help you move forward, or do they keep you mired, stuck in the status quo? Maybe ask yourself, where else have you seen this thinking? Perhaps in a family member? What about in yourself, just in another situation? And are the thoughts part of a larger pattern? So, for example, do you have these thoughts in certain situations, with certain people, in response to certain feelings? Once you begin to understand what your framework looks like and how it's constructed, you can see if it's serving you and will help you get to what you want to be, or if you need to break the frame to expand your perspective. And you can use these prompts to help you begin thinking critically about your worldview. Thank you for listening. Now, as with the other videos, I challenge you to think of a situation where you haven't dared. A situation where you froze in response to that inner voice and you thought, I shouldn't. Now take that situation and work through those prompts. And then come back to the comments and share your learning. Or share where you're getting stuck so that we can look at how to shift your outcome. If you'd like to explore how to break through the shouldn'ts and the can'ts, sort of to unlock your potential, contact me on my website, www.meganwarrencoaching.com, and use the link there to schedule a free discovery call with me. Thank you again for listening. Be well.